What's up, guys? In this video, we are going to be doing day 2 of Tony Robbins' Creating Lasting Change. And if you haven't saw the first CD, I'll put that right up there. You can click on that right now and check out the first one. It's a really good video and a good summary, so you definitely want to check that out before watching this. Let's get into it.
Shortened. It got to the point
Nice
where
talk
Jim
to
lost
you, man.
everything.
Have a
Lost
good day,
his
bro.
business. Number 3. Are you still with me?
Yes.
Good.
Whew. Alright, guys. That is the end of day 2. All of the CDs. Whew. Gotta take a breather. The last story that he shared was quite a lot. It was about a guy named Bob that was planning on killing his wife and kids. And he completely transformed this guy. And it was just a really cool story because someone at the contrast there of someone that's so like distraught and like so ready to do crazy things that someone can't imagine, and he's willing, you know, and he's able to turn someone like that around. And it's crazy because really all of these steps that he's used, the same process he's used for this guy named Bob is literally, you know, in this program. Honestly, I'm surprised. When I got into this program, I thought it was more about just how to change yourself, and it is, but it's actually more based on, like, if you're a counselor, how to change someone else's behavior. And I mean, I've looked into the counseling aspect of Tony Robbins, and I wanted to do it myself, and the programs are like $5,000 to get the training to change someone. This is extremely deep psychology. The fact that this is only like $200 is honestly pretty crazy to me. All right, so let's get into it. So in this CD, we went over the basic 7 steps to creating lasting change. And I'm going to go through them quite quick in this video because in the rest of the videos, in the rest of the CDs, what he does is goes deeper into them. So I'm really going to say, like, I'm going to go through these, but what I'm getting at here is you're definitely going to want to spend the money, the $200 that it is to get this program. I have nothing but good things to say about it so far. And the fact that, I mean, I've done it before as well, but just getting into it again, I remember how valuable this actually is. This program by far is totally worth the value, and I highly suggest getting it. Okay, so number 1 on to influence anyone, you need this first. You need to understand their world. You need to know what they're going through, and you really need to feel and understand. As we talked about in the previous video, you need to understand their value of the world. You need to understand what 2 values drive them the most. Those 2 values are how you can get what's called emotional leverage. When you get leverage, that's when you really change. So like me, for example, when I was into drugs and alcohol and an alcoholic, really, for me to change my alcoholic behavior, it took repetition over and over and over again of me conditioning my mind to say, no, this isn't going to be a part of my life. This is not okay. And that process is basically what's broken down here. So step 1, like I said, is you got to understand the person and really care about them and appreciate them. Not just a judgment, but really understanding why they are the way they are and what's gotten them to that position. So if it's yourself you're trying to change, you got to look at yourself and have empathy and not beat yourself up, but understand what's gotten you to this point. And it was the same for me. When I understood why I was there and just gave myself a bit of a break that I'd done the stupid shit that I'd done, then I could open up my mind a little bit to actually changing. And then number 2, as I just previously mentioned, is emotional leverage. So you need to find what values are in conflict and how you can get them to associate a higher priority to change than to their old behavior. You need to put the time and energy in to figure out exactly why you're doing the things you're doing. But what this process does and what this does with the 6 human needs is makes it kind of easy to like digest that and makes it easy to understand and like strategize and put the puzzle pieces in order to make change easy. Number 3 is a very critical step, and I look at my life and I see this to be true because when I don't do this, I know that I end up not changing. Interrupting the pattern. Interrupting the old behavior. So what does that mean? It means, for me, an example is I would come home. I remember this one moment very vividly. I came home and I had a 12-pack of beer, and I bought it in a state of pure frustration of like, why the fuck am I doing this again? Like, what is wrong with me that I can't just not buy this alcohol? Why is it such a weight on my shoulders that I need to get this? And I went upstairs and I was so furious, and I remember my family was home, And they just looked at me like I was an absolute monster. I was in this extreme rage. And I went upstairs and I just started cracking the cans, smashing the cans into the sink, jamming them open, dumping them all out. In that moment, I didn't know what I was doing. But now that I have read this and studied this, I know what I was doing was so valuable. And what I was doing in that situation was breaking my pattern in a really emotional way. So I was putting all of this rage into drinking. I was conditioning my mind to believe that drinking was now this extremely toxic thing and saying, no, this isn't going to happen again. It wasn't like that was the end all be all. I didn't just change right there. But I look back at my life and me quitting drinking took me like a good year of consistent battle and battle and battle and battle. And then also knowing if it doesn't happen right then, that you're not a failure, you just have to keep going and continue to break your pattern until you get to where you want to get to. It's the same with smoking. It's the same with any other addiction or, pattern that you have. And the other thing I want to bring up is like, you may not believe this to be true. You may not think this is possible. And that's exactly what I thought before when I was quitting drinking. And then I look at my life and I was like, I was such a stupid kid. I was like a low life. I didn't like the way that I was. And I would look at myself and I think I was seriously dumb. Like I was not a smart kid. But the fact that I just figured this out and I got emotional leverage through all of these programs to actually finally change, that's why I like this stuff so much, because like I came from being like just a dumb, stupid kid, and yet I was able to break something that people still struggle with, like a lot of my friends struggle with still to this day. And I know a lot of older people that struggle with this as well. Number 4, and as I just kind of talked about, is to define the problem in solvable terms. So that means if it was for me before that I cannot quit drinking, I love it too much, it's too big of it is part of my life that I don't want to change, that belief won't let me change. That is the limiting factor keeping me from changing, because the problem is deemed unsolvable. It cannot be changed. After you've broken the state, then you can move forth to, okay, like what is a way that I can actually make this happen? How can I make quitting drinking enjoyable? And for me, I went on a road trip across country, all the way across country. And I was drinking and, not drinking and drinking and not drinking. And then finally, because I, defined the problem in a solvable way, I was like, you know what, I'll just go out and I'll travel and I'll have a great time and my mind will be less focused on drinking. And what that ended up doing was led to me ultimately never drinking again. And it wasn't just that, but it was a couple other things all mixed in, and, all of these steps mixed into one. Probably been like 3 years now that I've been sober and haven't touched anything, and it's just for me that I can't touch anything. Some people have more discipline, they have a tolerance, but for me, I don't want it to be a part of my life. And then number 6 is condition it. So that means conditioning the belief that I am good enough not to drink, I'm strong enough not to drink, and then conditioning the behavior as well. The drinking now is just like been conditioned as such a bad thing that my mind won't go back to it. I'll think about it sometimes, but my mind and my body now, it's a chemical response that my body won't let me do it. It won't let me go out to the bar and actually have a drink. It just doesn't happen. And then number 7 is relate it to a higher purpose. So that's, relate it to like your kids or your family or love or people or if you're religious, to God, right? I'm not super religious, but for me, I related it to my family and my friends and the things that it was doing to them. It was really selfish of me to not take into consideration how much I really fucked up my family for like doing the things that I did. I would never be home. I wouldn't contact them. They wouldn't know if they were gonna get a call from the cops saying if they found me like dead in a ditch. That like shit like that happened all the time, and I just didn't care. I didn't care enough. And when I switched that and just realized how much I cared about them and how much they helped me get through that, that was the end all be all of all the pieces come together and me finally just never going back. All right, guys, so super long video, but that goes into the basic 7 principles to change and to create lasting change. This program now goes into those steps more in detail and just like, as I said before, conditions it, have them as like tools in your tool chest to use in any moment. So I will do a overall review when I finish this program. And other than that, this is just the second day, and then I'll do a review of everything else because like I said, it just goes into these 7 steps. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, please drop me a like. If you enjoy this style, let me know. No one's really commented on if they dig this style, but I personally like it because this is where I come from. You know, changing my old beliefs and going from who I was to who I am now. That's empowering to me, and I really like that. So hopefully I can, you know, bring a lot of value to you guys through these videos. So thank you guys for watching, and be sure to subscribe. Definitely check this out if you want to find this. It's on Tony Robbins' website. You can find them on eBay. You can find them all over the place. You can get digital copies as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.